There's always been an association with, I feel, athletes and the outdoors. There's a lot of ball players, a lot of athletes who love fishing like I do, who love to be outside, who love birds of prey, who love hunting. All the idea of being out with land, being out in nature, and obviously, one of the biggest sports would be baseball, which has that, setting. You've got the grass, you've got the trees. It's the beauty of outside. It's the spring. It's the smell of grass. It's the green, the color of green.
I was so excited to meet James Fiorentino as an artist who has exhibited at D&R Greenway's art galleries. And I learned about his background with sports and how that inspired him to love the outdoors. He started with the art. He then was a baseball player, and he came to love the outdoors and the wildlife, and that's where I really got to know him. James is now a trustee of D&R Greenway Land Trust.
Ironically, the first player I go to see to have sign a painting of mine was Joe Dimaggio. And I was 14 years old at that time. People were wanting to buy the original from me and kind of praise me for it. So that was probably the first time I said, wow, this is actually something pretty cool. After the age of 15, the next big thing I did was painting for Ted Williams. And that was a really big deal. And, similar story in the sense that I was at an event, at a show, showed the museum my work. It was the second year of the Ted Williams Museum, which was in Florida. And they said to me, we would love for you to paint the 20 greatest hitters that Ted is choosing, which I couldn't believe. One of the greatest people I ever got to paint was Pepper Pear Davis. The whole movie A League of Their Own was based on Pepper's life and the women who played professional baseball in the 1940s while World War II was going on. She was very close to me, almost like a grandmother to me, and I had the opportunity to do several paintings of her. It was the cover of her book called Dirt in a Skirt. Babe Ruth is known to many as obviously the greatest baseball player of all time. I think people who don't even know baseball know the name Babe Ruth. One of the great projects I was able to do was Universal Babe for Linda Ruth Tossetti, this collage of Babe's life, beyond baseball.
My grandfather grew up in Baltimore, in the Inner Harbor, which was a very dangerous place. And his parents ran a business. So it was a bar and / grocery store. Babe had ADHD, and he's only 6 years old. What happened was he was running wild, and he only went on a few hours sleep. So, he was, how he became such a great pitcher? He used to throw vegetables at the truckers that were coming through and the wagons that were coming through. Brother Matthias, who was the brother of discipline, very wise man, all 6'5" of them. A mountain of a man, which Babe was head and shoulders taller than all the kids of his age. He's a big guy. He needed somebody like Brother Matthias to say, oh boy, he's a big man. Brother Matthias could have been a baseball player. He used to sit there, just toss the balls upward single-handedly, knocking them out of the park. I mean, it was amazing. And Babe just looked at this man and went, wow. And I guess that was the deciding factor. He had Babe's attention.
Author Richard Louv published a book a few years ago, Last Child in the Woods, and that was all about how children today are disconnected from nature. Nature deficit disorder means being indoors, being away from the outdoors, and being at a point where you don't grow the creativity, the cooperativeness, the calm, the stress relief that comes from nature. It's been shown that children who can be known to have ADHD, also have nature deficit disorder. And just by getting outside, whether it's playing baseball or whether it's being out in the woods, it gives them an opportunity to reconnect and refocus in a way that helps them calm down and perform better.
That bit of baseball, the grass and the trees at St. Mary's and everything, I'm sure he took to it because he was an avid fisherman and a huntsman. In fact, I always said that's where he got his solace. That's where he recharged. That as much time as my grandfather spent in nature, I believe he did have nature deficit disorder.
D&R Greenway preserves land for all people from all walks of life. And one of the things we take a look at is how do people connect with nature? And one of the ways that many people connect is through the sports that their children play when they're young. So we stepped back at one point and we looked at the fact that we were preserving many wilderness areas in central New Jersey, but we also needed parks, and we needed places where there could be little league fields, soccer fields, places where children could get outdoors with their parents, with their families, and enjoy all the benefits of nature. And so we've created parks like Greenway Meadows Park in Princeton and Farm View Fields where there's ball fields. And it's great to see the kids and the families out there all the time in the spring and the summer.
When I'm playing soccer, I feel lost with the ball. I feel lost, and a good lost. During those 90 minutes, I would just feel that I just want to be here forever.
It also affects our mental health if we're inside like all the time. And I feel like a lot of people have like experienced it during the quarantine. And I think having access to the outside world and being like able to experience nature gives you like a new perspective.
My boys and I have been lucky to have access to nature. Many children do not have that opportunity. One of the many reasons why I wanted to become a trustee at D&R Greenway Land Trust was to have that ability to have young children have access to nature and the outdoors. Important to everyone.